What's up, traders? This is Vee Trades, and today I'll be doing a technical analysis breakdown for MERCADOLIBRE with the ticker symbol MELI. Remember that if you want a chart analysis guaranteed to be done, please read the description below. Before we begin, please take a second to give the video a like and subscribe for more chart analysis. I appreciate all those who are already subscribed and liked my videos. Just a reminder that this video is for entertainment purposes only, does not constitute any financial advice. I will first go over what I see on the daily chart and finish the video off with the weekly chart. So MELI is another e-commerce company that I'm interested in, especially because they are in the emerging markets area such as South America and Mexico. They have their platforms distributed all across Latin America. So this is another one to keep an eye on because we have a e-commerce company coupon for South Korea. We got one for Southeast Asia, which is C Limited. Now we found one for South America, which is MELI. And we also have China, which is Alibaba. So we got e-commerce platforms all across the world, which I'm very bullish on in different countries. So this is another one I'm keeping my eye on, but I'm waiting for lower prices because this thing was extremely overvalued. You see, it was trading at $2,000 per share, and now it's pretty much halved at the $1,000 level. But I think we can get halved again, and I'll show you guys why. So let's start with the analysis since 2020 because this is the first time I'm looking at this chart. So ever since 2020, pretty much all stocks were going up. You can see that they were inside of a uptrend. Prices were making higher highs, higher lows. So I believe this to be the trend that MELI was inside of. This uptrend right here fits pretty good. The EMA was acting as support and resistance, and you can see that we made two legs up. This would be the first leg up. We had a little correction, and then the market began the second leg up, and we did surpass it, and we did get an overshoot of this yellow channel. So that led to a breakout side on this side of the channel because the market is symmetrical. But normally we don't just reverse, we usually go back up to retest the previous extreme. So in this case it was up, so we did go back to retest the previous highs, and then we found a lot of resistance and prices just gave up and sold off because we made a big double top pattern. We made a little M formation, and then prices started to sell off. And back over here, there's a huge gap that was created since this up move. So I think eventually it looks like they're coming back to target to fill in this gap right here. So that's another reason why prices should be continuing lower, is that there's this gap, and also that we had a reversal pattern play out. So now let's take a look at the more current price section, and I believe we are inside of a downtrend. Obviously you can see that this marks the channel that prices are respecting, and we're still inside of it. So there's a lot of room for MELI to fall down. We could reach the opposite side of the channel, because normally if we bounce from the resistance side, we can go to the support side, right, which is right over here. So that's a big drop in and out of itself. Let me show you guys the little range that MELI was inside of. It looks like the bulls were defending that $1,000 level. However, it looks like the bears are going to be winning out just because the market is pulling back, and anything overvalued is going to get demolished. So we were inside of this range. We found resistance at the channel, and if you pay attention and if you can see this clearly, you can see that we had a two-legged pullback up. So you can see that was the first leg up. We had a correction, and this little low is higher than the previous one, so I can move my arrow right there. And exactly when we met that measured move, we were at resistance, and prices started to sell off. It's kind of like the same pattern right here, where we had a move right here, a pullback down, and if I drag this over, very close to the end of this measured move is right when we start selling off. So we see these two-legged corrections in trends, and it's just a continuation pattern. So looks like MELI is going to be breaking down lower, especially since earnings are approaching. So this can get ugly. I'll be surprised if this earnings pushes the market higher, because everything indicates that prices should be traveling lower. Even if we do go up lower, I think it's just going to be temporary and short-lived, and MELI will eventually continue lower. So the near-term target is right at the 817 level, but I'm looking at targets much lower. Let me show you guys right now. You can see that we had a measured move right here. This was the first leg down, and then we had a little two-legged pullback. Show you guys that again. You see this is the first leg up, and this low right here is higher than that one, so that's a continuation of the first leg. And now right where the second arrow is, or the first arrow that I moved over, you can see that's where we're stalled out and we began the formation of the second leg. And we did surpass it, and eventually market pulled back. So if we did surpass it, that lends me to believe that we are still in the formation of a bigger leg. So maybe we combine the first two. And if I drag this one over, this is my target for MELI right here. Let me drag this down. Let me go to the price. So my target is right at the 425 level. And it makes sense because that is the 2020 lows. And it looks like they probably want to come back to the starting point of this uptrend, especially if we had this huge move up. We had a double top, and now we're reversing back down. So just like how we went up is probably how we're gonna come back down. So they want to come back right to the starting point of 2020, probably to fill in this gap that was created, a big one right here, and then just we're gonna probably see lower prices. So another interesting note is that we are building like a wall behind us. For example, you can see that this area right over here was a lot of support. Okay, so if I put a horizontal line right there, you can see that this 1352 level was acting as support quite a few times, and then price action broke through it with all the selling pressure, and then we had a two-legged pullback right back to that level, and now we found resistance. So that's not a good sign. That means we're building walls behind us. So we're just making it harder for the bulls to break through. So it's the same thing right here, where you can see that this was prior support at this 1146 level, and we busted through it with this big down move. And now we're kind of like testing it. We're testing it. We still can't break through it. And now we're going lower to test other lower price levels. So the supports aren't holding, but the prior resistances are holding now. And it's the same thing for an uptrend. If we are finding resistance, let me put a horizontal. So let me put a trend line right here. So you can see that this was prior resistance for MELI. It cannot break through it. And then finally it busted through it, and then it pulled back to find some type of support at it. Now we created a base or a floor, and then prices trended higher. So now we're just doing the opposite now, where we're breaking through the support and building resistance behind us. So obviously everything on this chart is just pointing down. No one should be bullish as of right now. I mean, I'm extremely bullish in the long term on all these e-commerce companies, especially this is emerging markets, Colombia, Brazil, Mexico. So it looks like they're going to be probably doing very good in the coming decades, maybe even just years, but their revenue is increasing year over year by a larger factor. So I think it's overvalued right now, and once we get to this $400 level, 450 level, is going to be halved. The market capitalization will be 25 billion. The earnings will probably be about 5 or 6. So that's a pretty good ratio, about a 5 to 6 ratio for revenue to market cap. So that's still a little higher than I thought, than I would like to get at, but at least I would start a position there, most likely. If we go even lower, then I'll be even more happy about that. But as right now, everything's pointing down, and keep you guys updated if anything else changes. But earnings are coming up. I think even if we do get a pop up, I mean, is that really going to be the bottom for MELI? It just does not look like it. We could go back up to that 1360 level, maybe, if they want to bring up that high. I doubt it, to test the prior resistance level and maybe just continue lower again. So this still, even if we do see bullish signs, it could just be temporary. There's still walls that were made that MELI has to break through now. It's just easier for the price to continue lower. So I think they're probably just going to gap down during this earnings. So let's take a look at the weekly chart to wrap this video up. So here's the weekly chart. You can see that we just went up. We had a little double top, M formation. Prices could not surpass the previous high, and now we're just in the formation of a downtrend. So before, the EMA was pointing up and acting as a support for prices. Now it's pointing down and acting as resistance for prices. So we're just going to continue lower. I'm looking at these lower price targets at right around that $453 level, and maybe even the 362 level. That would be a nice level to get into. So we're just waiting, just being patient, and I think these prices will be reached in no time soon. Thank you for stopping by and checking out my video. Make sure to check out the rest of the channel, since you might be surprised on what you can learn. Leave a comment down below on where you think prices are headed. Also share the video if you want your friends to learn about the markets. Lastly, I appreciate any feedback to help improve the channel, since I want to deliver great content to you guys. See you next time, and bye.